one of the key tenets for the pension sector is to help mobilization of savings. Now, beyond these savings, of course, we look at being able to access your money when the rain day happens, like it has happened because of COVID-19. And today there's a bit of excitement among those that are looking to get mid-term access from NSSF.
And of course, we're saying that for you who is accessing your funds at this moment in time, it's very important to focus on investing in areas where you get above 10% on return of investments.
Mid-term access is a living testimony on how good things can happen or how possible things are. When the talk had just started, it was in the middle of COVID, it appeared unrealistic. It appeared unforeseen. It appeared something that cannot happen. But, you know, we've lived to see it happen. I think it shows how governance has grown in the institutions that are handling some of these things, and it stamps the faith that investors or any other person can have in our country. As you know, one of the things that business is built on, if not the most important thing, is trust. And I think mid-term access will go a long way to build trust in the fund. Let's not forget what people are accessing. They are not accessing money from their savings accounts. They are not accessing money from their salary account, or they are not accessing money from a cash relief or stimulus package. This is social security money. And social security money is supposed to come in when there is a need. Like, for instance, what happened during COVID, people needed social security because they were tied down. Obviously, government did what it did. It wasn't perfect or anywhere close to perfect. This is where you need social security. If you have a chance like the eligible members do right now to access that money, it's very important for each of them to remember that this is social security money. And if you don't have a social security need right now, you've gotten a chance to go out there, buy an asset that can be used to give you control of your social security. If you can get enough money to invest in any asset, by asset I don't only mean real estate. It can be a business that you either own or you partly own. It can be a business that you do not own but you're buying shares. A number of companies are listed in Uganda. Or it can be a partnership that needs some bit of capital that can share their profits year on, year out. And by so doing, you're diversifying your sources of revenue in times when you cannot be able to. This is not money that is meant to all of a sudden give you a higher disposable income, or it's not even money that is meant to take your children to school, because this is your social security. Your children are going to go away tomorrow and leave you without social security, and if you're going to rely on them, it's going to be difficult because they will ask you what you are doing while you're energetic. So anyone above 45, it's very important to remember this is social security money. So the difference is once you access it mid-term, you have more power to dictate the return you're getting than leaving it in the fund. I think the architects of the mid-term access were very subtle and smart at what they did. So they put an age limit, a condition. So 45 years, and you have to have been a member for more than 10 years, rules out over 80% of the members. Meaning, whatever you can access as 20% doesn't have a significant impact on the size of the fund. Let's not forget that NSSF is the biggest like social security fund in the region, not only in Uganda. It's the single largest, meaning our economies in East Africa depend a lot on borrowing money from NSSF. So as an economy, it's very important that we have a strong NSSF. So what I look at as an observer from the other side, also a member of the fund, is that 20% can actually steer an extra 20% growth in membership, and the impact is positive to the fund. Because when you build trust, anyone who works somewhere where they are not compliant with NSSF and has 2-3 more years to go, in my opinion, would force his employer to remit, because he wants to be there and also access is 27%. So by so doing, there is this galvanization of the economy, because we need a very strong NSSF for us to have access to cash and resources in the country. Everyone who wants to list on the stock exchange would reach out to NSSF. Every bank that needs deposits would want to reach out to NSSF. When government is selling treasury bills, they want to reach out to NSSF. And we need a strong NSSF, of course rooted in deep governance, a trust. I think the 20% is going to build the trust for people in informal employment to put pressure on their employers to say, hey, we need to be part of that. If you're not giving me that, I'm going the other side, because for them they do have that. So it has a potential of growing the economy, as opposed to looking at the withdrawal. So they looked at people who had reached a certain age, who had a certain discipline of saving for 10 years, which was very smart. So they really gave it a good, and that really demonstrates that Uganda has people who know what they are doing. Insurance, in a nutshell, offers what we call a financial safety net to prevent a person, a business, or society from going back to zero in case of a shock. Insurance doesn't make you rich, and this is something that could have been misunderstood. It's not something that you go to and it makes you rich. It is something that you go to when you have something to lose and you just don't want to lose it. I believe everyone has something to lose in their own right, and that's overall what insurance provides. So products like health insurance exist for that. That you put in something, and in case of that adverse something happening, you have a financial safety net that will do that. The same thing to businesses. You have business, you need business continuity insurance. For instance, we went through COVID, and people who had manufactured items couldn't deliver them because all of a sudden everything is grounded, the workplaces are closed, the schools are closed. Business continuity in a number of countries where it's embraced, tailored to business circumstances. Tourism industries were given a lifeline because all of a sudden people who had made orders had to cancel them. If you have a proper governance, proper audit trail of how much you normally make in a peak season, backed up with 2-3 years of financial analysis with forecasts, and this is not something that is complicated. It is something that we actually do. We just don't document it. Every person out there, downtown, uptown, upcountry, everywhere, knows exactly what they expect out of something. They know exactly what they got last year. There's a person whose business is harnessing back to school. He knows exactly what his projections are. He knows exactly what he did last term, and knows what he wants to do next year. The only difference is in his head, it's not documented. If we had it documented, supported, and all that, you can get insurance for that. It is your only deal or sure deal to ensure that you don't lay off your employees. If you're renting, you keep your rental bills paid, and without necessarily getting customers in. It's more of that comes in. So there are two angles. The first angle is the core insurance business, which is protection and restoration. The other one is a chance for investment. The general public out there should look out for investment opportunities in insurance because the industry is growing, meaning companies are doing well. And instead of starting your own business, you could think of, how can I buy shares of this company? Can you guys sell us shares? That kind of thing. So that's another angle. When an industry is growing, it's one of the things that comes up. Can we invest into this sector and do something? Because most people invest in what they believe in. Then they use financials and financial analysis to justify what their heart has bought in. If you believe that a country needs social protection, if a country needs insurance policies for its business and people and all that, you definitely want to be part of it, not only benefiting from the product, but also benefiting from any returns that might come through. Normally, for someone to invest, you have to have what to invest. So meaning you have to save. There are very few people who earn a salary at the end of the month in the bigger sphere of events, but those are the easier to push a discipline into. In my opinion, it's very difficult. Everyone is an expert at coming up with ideas. But the reason why we have experts in particular fields is for them to be utilized to get some of these things done. When you go and read theory about savings, they tell you savings is what is left over after spending what you've spent in a month. And most of us know nothing gets left over. So the best way of saving is take it off before even you spend. That will force you to be disciplined. So people are selling shares on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and we need to task this information to come out. We thank programs like yours, which bring out spotlight on business. And these are companies that are run. They collect money from us every day. I mean, we all use airtime. There's a company that sells airtime that is listed on the stock exchange. We all pay for power bills. There's a company that gives us a bill every month. Now these days you actually pay for the coming month, not the previous month. These companies, we need to interrogate, are they making money? Instead of me trying to put up rentals, can I buy a stake in this company and I share from their hard work as I take the passive step to do this? A lot of those questions have to be asked. And by so doing, I think we can try to leverage off our different capabilities